What's up, BookTube? It's Lee Cooper, and today I'm bringing you my February 2020 TBR, as well as my Tome Topple Round 10 TBR. So I will talk about Tome Topple at the end of this video, and I'll start with my regular monthly TBR, including the things that I am currently reading. So currently I am reading Borrower of the Night by Elizabeth Peters. This is the first book in her Vicky Bliss series. I'm almost halfway done with this, and I'd kind of like to finish this by tomorrow. I'm filming on February 2nd, so I'm kind of hoping to finish this by February 3rd because I've got 2 days off today and tomorrow. And this is a really quick little mystery adventure in Germany with a bunch of academics trying to find a lost shrine, and also there's like a ghost haunting aspect. They're in this castle, and there's like a toxic family relationship with the people who own the castle. You know, pretty typical 60s, 70s mystery stuff from Elizabeth Peters. So reading that currently. I'm also listening to Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia on audiobook. I am hoping to finish this, well, before Tome Topple at the very least, but I'm that's just my loose goal, which Tome Topple starts on the 7th, so I only have like 5 days to finish that. I am almost 30% of the way through this, I think. I've been listening to it a little bit this morning, and I'm not entirely sure how far I got into it, but I think I've got about 7 hours. So I do have my work cut out with this, but yeah. This has obviously been a very popular book. A lot of people on BookTube have either hauled this or read this. I fully suspect that this will be on the BookTube SFF Awards shortlist. I'd be kind of surprised if it wasn't in the fantasy category, which means I should probably be vlogging my reading experience of it, but I wasn't really planning on reading it. I just picked it up because it was available at my library. So yeah, but that's one of my predictions, and it's pretty good so far. We'll see though. The other thing I'd really like to read before Tome Topple, and one of the reasons why I'm trying to get through this so quickly, is that I want to reread Radiance by Catherine M. Valente. I'm going to be doing a secret project with this book, and I have not read it since 2017. It's been, I think, solidly 2.5, almost 3 years since I read this book, and I'd like to refresh my memory about the particulars and maybe take some notes on it for secret project. The other thing I'd like to finish pre-Tome Topple is another audiobook, but it depends on if this audiobook comes in for me at the library, and that is Penrick's Mission. I'll mention this in my January wrap-up. I read most of this on audio in January. I had 45 minutes left of the audiobook, and my loan on it expired. So you'll see in a second why I want to get this done before Tome Topple. Hopefully it comes in. Hopefully I can just like sit down in an afternoon and finish listening to it. And then the other book I want to read this month that has nothing to do with Tome Topple is going to be Before Mars by Emma Newman. This was on my January TBR, tentatively to read at the end of the month if I had time. During my try a chapter tag, I was going to also read the first chapter of this as like try a chapter, but when I sat down to do it, I realized I really didn't want to read it on my phone, which is the only place that I have access to the expired e-arc. So I went ahead and requested this in physical format from my library. They don't have it on ebook, but I requested it from the library. It's in transit, so I'm going to get it tomorrow probably, and then it'll just be a toss up whether I read that or Radiance first. Technically I could read Radiance after Tome Topple, but it'd probably be better to read Before Mars after Tome Topple. So that is the other thing I want to get read this month. After that, if I have any other time, I might read some short works. I was kind of thinking maybe doing some short story reading from like Hugo winners in the past 2 years, but I don't think I'm going to have time because whatever tomes I start in Tome Topple, I'll have to finish. So let's dig into the second half of this TBR, which is my Tome Topple Round 10 TBR. So I participated, I think, in the first round of Tome Topple. I definitely remember when Sam started this. If you don't know what Tome Topple is, it's a readathon hosted by Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes. I will leave a link to her announcement video down below in the description. I do remember when she started this challenge. I'm almost positive I participated in it in the first round and a couple of rounds after that, though my participation in it in the last 2 years has definitely been very like not consistent or there at all. But considering I put a ton of books on my 20 books to read in 2020 list that were over 500 pages, and I explicitly said in the video I made about that challenge, oh, this would make a great Tome Topple book. Oh, this would make a great Tome Topple book. I really want to participate in round 10 of Tome Topple and probably round 11. To that end, I've got there is a bingo card with challenges that Sam's created and different ranks you get for how many bingo squares you complete. And I want to hit at least 4 squares. So that would put me at the second tier. I can't remember what that tier is. Again, it'll be in her announcement video. There'll be a link. You can check it out. Each thing you read can only account for 2 squares. So that means I have to try to read 2 books. So the challenges I'm going to try to hit are, first of all, an audiobook and an adult book. So for the audiobook, I've picked The Curse of Chalion by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is on hold at the library. And again, this is why I want to get Penrick's Mission before Tome Topple so that I can finish listening to it. I don't need to, but I would like to have that book finished before I dive into another book in the universe. The Curse of Chalion is one of those novels where it floats right around 500 pages depending on the edition. It's anywhere between 490 and like 515. And, you know, Sam's always like, I'm not the Tome Topple police. I'm not going to get after anyone if you read something that's slightly shorter. So this book is right on the cusp of being long enough, but I'm going to say it counts. It is something I really want to read, and it's like the perfect thing to listen to on audiobook because I've been listening to all of Lois McMaster Bujold's books in the realm of the 5 gods on audio, and I wanted to listen to this one on audio as well. So that's the tome I'm going to be listening to over the course of the 2-week Tome Topple time. The thing I'll be reading is going to fulfill the challenges of read a tome. I mean, either of these technically count for read a tome or read an adult book. So, yeah, whichever way it goes. And also read something that's been on your TBR the longest. And I think this is the tome that has been on my TBR the longest. And that is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. I've wanted to read this since it was published, and I checked that this was published in 2005, which means it's been on my TBR for 15 years. And it is well over 500 pages. It's 676 pages in this edition. And this is also off my 20 books to read in 2020 list. And it's also something I mentioned in that video that I wanted to read sooner rather than later because I want it. It is about Dracula and historical research, I think. And I think it's supposed to be a little spooky, kind of gothic-y. And I do think that would be something better to read in fall or winter instead of spring. And I didn't want to wait until October to read this because I've been doing that the last year or two. And every time I do that, I end up getting sick and I don't want to read this in October. And then it just gets pushed further and further back. I reread Dracula last year in preparation of reading this and still didn't get around to it. So yeah, I think this will make an excellent Tome Topple novel. And at 677 or 676, it's a challenging length, but one I can definitely do. So I would like to read this faster than the 2 weeks we have for Tome Topple, but we'll see if that happens. I'm not sure. If I finish this before the end of Tome Topple, there is one other tome I'm going to put on this TBR, even though it is kind of crazy to put it on this TBR, and that is to read, and it fulfills the challenge, to read the longest book on your TBR. So you can guess what that is. It's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So I will pick this up if I finish The Historian before the end of Tome Topple. If I don't, then I'm freeing myself up from the obligation of reading this right now in the month of February. But if I do, I'd like to start it. I'd like to see how it goes. I will 100%, if I pick this up, not finish it in February. I can guarantee you that. But it's like my third backup tome for Tome Topple option. Yeah. I do have some other things I could obviously read for Tome Topple, but I think I'm going to just set myself the challenge of getting through The Historian no matter what. And The Curse of Chalion, which The Curse of Chalion will not be difficult to get through because I'm really excited to read that. So, that's everything I have planned to read in February. It's a very ambitious TBR. I probably won't get to all of it, but like there's no crime against being ambitious, even if you don't get to everything on your TBR. In January, I kind of only got to 2/3 of the things on my TBR, and I read some other things that I hadn't planned, but that's fine. So yeah, these are the books that I physically own. The rest of them are digital or audio. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you're going to be participating in Tome Topple, and if you are, what book are you going to be reading down below? Because, yeah, it's always exciting. This is one of the only readathons that I've participated. This is probably the readathon I've participated in the most, because the whole concept behind it, challenging you to read big books that might be intimidating, is something that really resonates with me personally. I've talked about this many times. I am not a reader of big books, and it's always kind of a struggle to get through big books, and so I really appreciate Tome Topple. And I've had a lot of success in the years previously where I have actually participated. It's been really good. So, I'm excited for round 10. Are you excited for round 10? Be sure and check Sam's announcement video down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.